I was wondering, so, the third quarter there when Tua and the offense comes out, obviously we see a lot of up tempo. How much of the feedback that you, in the conversation that you have from Tua, do you apply to the next week and moving forward, knowing that that type of play style and scheme obviously benefited him in the offense?
Yeah, I think we will continue to use it. How much? I think it'll depend on the game. It'll depend on the situation. We felt like that would help us in the second half of that game, and obviously it did. But I think as time goes on, we'll just have to see how much of it we'll use, what direction it goes. But it was obviously good for him and for us. So it'll be part of what we do. I'm pretty sure from here on out.
Steve?
What are the challenges, Chan, and the benefits of going up tempo, no huddle with a young quarterback, specifically in this case, Tua?
Well, the challenges are he doesn't get as much time to see what's happening. The benefits are the defense doesn't get to see as much time to see what's happening. So you got to decide the trade-off, and that's where it is. Are you gaining more by being in the up tempo, or are you, I don't want to say handcuffing, but are you hampering the quarterback's ability to see everything that's going on? So as we design it, what we might use each week, we try to take that into consideration and use it to however it might be the most beneficial for us, so that we can get the most out of it. But those are the two things that I would say.
Joe?
Hey, Chan, good morning to you. I saw kind of an interesting breakdown of Tua on the interweb there, where they talked about how he can move defenders with his eyes, head, shoulders, hips, and feet. I'm curious where he is on that in terms of being able to sort of mislead or trick defenders.
I think he's learning every day about how to do that. In college, you look one way and you turn back and you throw, and you can be kind of definitive about it. Look hard one way and then come back and throw the other way. You have to be a lot more subtle here. Those defenders have seen a lot of things if they're not rookies. So you have to be more subtle about it. And I think he's learning the subtleties of looking with his eyes, or moving his shoulders instead of moving his eyes, or doing things like that. And I think he's coming along in that.
Omar?
Chan, I wanted to ask you a specific question about Lynn Bowden Jr. We kind of got teased based on what he did last week with the ball in his hands and his ability to make defenders miss. We've seen that in his film at Kentucky. What's been the hindrance why he has not gotten to the point where he can contribute on a regular basis, and what's next for him?
Well, there's a lot of things that go into a season. It could be injury, it could be anything. This year, it could even be COVID. So there's a lot of things that go into that, and then somebody else is playing good, and then the guy gets hurt. Malcolm got hurt, Lynn got a chance, and Lynn did some good things. So that's what you have to do in this league, is you have to take advantage of your opportunities, and he did that last week. And I think we'll continue to try to use him and let him get some touches along with some of these other guys that we think can make plays for us.
Armando?
Chan, on the broadcast of the game last week, the guys that were the broadcasters had done a previous game for you guys, and they said that when they talked to you, you had told them you don't like no huddle, up-tempo stuff. you prefer execution as opposed to going fast. I just want to hear it from you. Is that true? And or why do you feel that way? Or how do you feel about the no huddle and all that stuff?
I probably said something along those lines because you don't get to take advantage of some things sometimes when you're going in the up tempo, because it is you don't have your whole offense up tempo. You have a packet, limited packages in that. So you want to try to take advantage of what you can take advantage of, and sometimes the tempo does take advantage of some things. So you got to be flexible. You got to be able to go do different things in order to move the football. And if up tempo is one of those things, then we're going to use that to help us.
Cameron?
Hey, Chan, I guess outside of tempo, you guys did a lot more empty, it seemed like, in this game, and had some success with that. What sort of things does empty packages unlock for Tua as far as, what you guys can do in the passing game?
First, it defines rushers. People got to go out and cover those guys, so it defines who's rushing. Now, that means if they bring one more than you have blockers, then you got to be able to get rid of it. And we got caught on that one time, and it almost cost us. But we feel like it gives him an opportunity to see where the rushers are coming from, and then see where the matchups are that we like, who's on who. You can see that more distinctly rather than being in closed formations where they can disguise better. So those are a couple of things that help him somewhat.
I got time for one more. We'll go to Adam.
Yeah, Chad, I don't want to age you, but you've kind of lived through the evolution of NFL offenses. And I'm curious, what Kansas City is doing right now, could you have envisioned 30 years ago, 35 years ago, the diversity of their packages and the speed and certainly the quarterback play? When you look at what Andy Reid's doing, what do you see?
No, I couldn't have, 30 years ago, I'm not saying we were 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but it was close to that. And, everybody was in closed formations. You seldom got in the wide formations. So the game has changed. And they've done a great job of taking the talent that they have and using it and spreading people out. I don't study them, but I get to see them a lot because we have common opponents. So I do get to see them play some, and they do spread people out and have people going everywhere. They do a good job.
We ask you about so many special teams plays that go right. I guess one didn't go right the other day with the fake field goal touchdown negated by penalty. Can you just kind of explain to us, what should have happened and what didn't go right?
Well, I mean, I think it's quite simple. There's an emphasis since about the middle of last year on some broken formation reports and eligibles, and it's a long list. But bottom line is, we didn't get done what we needed to get done, and as always, that starts with me. We need to be better. We get those opportunities; they don't come along often. You got to make sure you're not beating yourself.
Josh?
Hi, good morning, Danny. After that game, Zach Taylor had a pretty interesting quote. I thought if I could read it. He said, "That's the #1 punt return unit in the league. He does not fair catch the ball," referring to Jakeem. So you've got to put pressure on him. I'm wondering, obviously, when, two instances like that happen to Jakeem, what was the kind of message yesterday in film review? And, do you continue to push aggressiveness with him moving forward in terms of, fielding the ball and utilizing that speed?
Right. But I think there's always the fine line. We're going to be aggressive, but there's also we're also trying to be smart and understand and manage the situation. Every punt's a different, opportunity based on, our look, their look, the punt. So there's a lot of things that that go involved in those decisions. Bottom line is, as a punt returner, the number one job of that guy is making good decisions. So we'll just continue, with our rules and how we want to play it, and make the right decisions, hopefully each time.
Kim?
Hey, Danny, I guess going back to that special teams play, you mentioned sort of the rule there. Is that a thing that's sort of arbitrary where they call it or they don't call it? Or is that something where the O-lineman just made a mistake? I'm curious how that kind of works.
It's a little bit of a combination of a lot of things. Each crew is a little bit different in what they're looking for and what they feel they need. But if we're doing everything like we should, it shouldn't matter. So we just got to make sure we drill down and again, don't put ourselves ever in a position where we're leaving it up to somebody else's view of what's happening.
Al?
Hi, Danny. Going back to Jakeem and his punt return duties, don't get me wrong. I totally find Jakeem blameless on what happened the other day. But do you think that he should fair catch more? Would you like, for the sake of him staying alive, would you like to see him fair catch more? Or what do you tell him about judging when to do it and when not to do it?
Well, I think to answer your question, we have things that we tell them, and there's rules, and there's different things that you give every player. But at the end of the day, that's why they're called players, and it doesn't happen on paper. It doesn't happen in a meeting. It happens at full speed with live things coming at you, and the training of making those decisions. And as I said, you want to be right on all those decisions. Sometimes we may be wrong on some of those decisions, but we just got to keep emphasizing what we're looking for and why. And then like anything, I don't care what player it is, the punt returner, the quarterback, the left guard, the defensive end, on each play you have, responsibilities and progressions. And, our job as coaches is to give them all the information, and, hopefully we make the right decisions in game time at game speed.
One more question. We'll go to Omar.
Danny, I know the league has gone through great lengths to make special teams safer and kind of water it down, in my opinion, for the players. But the 2-yard window that these punt returners have, I don't feel like it's being honored this year, and it especially wasn't honored last week. Are they overlooking that? Or, what happened to Jakeem? That should kind of be an ejection, shouldn't it?
Well, again, those things are, they're way above my pay grade, up in New York City, in terms of that stuff. I think it's a bang bang play. I think that even those two plays were, to me, quite different. Even they were similar, but they were quite different in the timing and the spacing of it. So it's it's a tough deal. I don't have a great answer for you. I think the player safety should always be number one at the top of anything, any rule, and more importantly, how it's judged on the field. But again, that's not necessarily my department, but we coach our guys on both sides of it, of what the rules are. And then again, at game speed, everybody's got to make those decisions.
Yeah, you guys played fantastic last week, but I want to ask you about the Chiefs because they're the upcoming opponent. I'm curious, when it comes to a challenge with a player like Tyreek Hill, who's got incredible speed and can get open, have you found a certain kind of corner does better against him? Do fast corners do better against him? Do bodied up big corners do? How do you defend a guy who's that explosive?
Well, I think, to answer your question, I think you got to do it multiple ways. I think he's obviously an explosive player, and he's getting better. I mean, you watch it on film. He was very good to begin with, and he's taken that to another level. He's an extremely good route runner. He's very quick. They do multiple things with him. They got great scheme. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, those guys do a phenomenal job. They make you defend every blade of grass, and they've got tremendous set of skill players to do it. And Tyreek Hill is a very explosive player. Hardman's a very explosive player. And then they got very good skill all the way around the board, tight ends, receivers. And I mean, you're looking at two of the fastest guys in the league that they have on their team. And then a quarterback that can make all the throws and extend plays. So it's a big challenge. I don't think there's one way you can do it. I mean, you've got to approach it in a multiple facet approach to make sure that you limit those explosive plays.
Steve?
Josh, you guys have done such a good job this season of being a disruptive defense and putting other teams on their heels. How much have you seen defenses be able to do that with the Chiefs over the last couple of years?
Well, again, I think it's hard because one of their players and the talent level that they have, and two, the outstanding coaching and scheme that they have. So, usually the times that there are disruption, it's probably a mistake here or there. They're going to do an outstanding job. If you get them once, they'll fix it. I would say, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they're going to adjust to whatever you do. It makes it extremely hard. It's not like somebody's, just teeing off on them. They adjust very well to what you're doing. And, like all offenses, they'll have some plays that probably aren't their best, but for the most part, these guys are a really efficient group.
Joe?
Hey, Josh, good morning to you.
Good morning.
What have been your observations and study about how Patrick Mahomes generally does against numerous, when you bring a lot of people when there's a blitz?
Well, I think he's a very good decision maker. I think he does a very good job of keeping his eyes down the field. I think he has a very good feel of what's going on the field. So he doesn't necessarily sit there and look at the rush. He'll keep his eyes downfield and look for matchups. The guy's a tremendous player. Like I said, we have a big challenge in front of us this week.
Hal?
Hi, Josh.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
There's been a lot of talk about up-tempo, given how successful you guys were with it in the second half the other day. And I'd like to hear a defensive coordinator's perspective of going against up-tempo. How much do you hate it when you have to face it? Are you just hoping that you have the right guys on the field because you can't substitute necessarily? What are the things you're looking for when you face that?
Well, I think it's like whether they're huddling, not huddling, or they're going fast, or they're going at a normal pace. I mean, you're looking at what they're trying to do, what they're trying to attack, and I would say, obviously, defensively, we've practiced against it. We've seen it this year. You just got to make sure that your communication, the calls get in quickly, the communication's at a high level. Those are the things that you're looking to do. But really the matter of it is how are they trying to attack you and what are they trying to do? That could be the same as if they were going at a slower pace, or sometimes it's different, or, they only have select plays when they're going fast. So, all those things kind of go hand in hand. It's just a part of defending offenses. And I would say, all offenses have it, because, if you get into a 2-minute situation and then, the clock becomes an issue for them, they'll all go fast. So, you have to be ready for it at any time. It's no different than, if they give you unbalanced, or, they give you a formation maybe that you weren't, or personnel grouping that maybe you weren't expecting. You just got to handle it as it comes up. And I would say, in the course of a week, we prepare for all that stuff.
Travis?
Hey, good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you about Byron Jones. I know Xavier Howard gets a lot of the publicity with all the interceptions, but I'm curious, does having Byron on the other side maybe deter quarterbacks from going in that direction and giving X more opportunities? Like, what exactly is Byron doing that maybe we're not seeing that really proves his value on this defense?
Well, I think the thing with Byron is whether it's zone or man or in the run game, he's consistently been able to do what we've asked of him, and for the most part, it's like I said, you can have a great game as a corner and have really a zero stat line. If you don't give up a third down pass, you don't give up a red area pass, you don't have any penalties, no missed tackles. Like for a corner, they can have a great game and really nobody'd even know they had a great game unless you went back and really kind of studied the film. So, and I think Byron works hard at a lot of those things, and there's a lot of things that he does that are unseen. And then I would say, like everybody, myself included, I mean, there's always things that you can improve on, and we work hard to do that. Byron does that. He's a diligent worker, but he's been productive for us, and glad we have him.
Cam?
Hey, Josh, how are you, man?
Good.
I know we've talked to you in previous weeks about your amoeba defensive package. I wanted to ask again, I know you guys did some of it in New England when you and Flo were together, but I wanted to see how much has it evolved for you guys now in Miami from where it initially was?
Well, I think things evolve all the time, and it's a copycat league. I think you look at things, and it's like I said, it's no different than plays that hurt us defensively. We're probably going to see it again from other offenses. If a lot of coaches watch a lot of film, so if they see something that hurts a certain protection or gives something a certain problems, you're going to see it. And there's always little tweaks here and there to it. So I would say it evolves. A lot of it depends on what the offenses are doing and your personnel defensively, depending on what you can get done. And it really goes back to, you're just trying to put guys in position to succeed. So, and I think, that's the way most people approach it. But, it's been like I said, nobody's out there inventing anything, and, everybody's, they kind of look and they take stuff from other people, and, and you really just try to put your guys based on your personnel in the best position that they could be in, that really kind of attacks the offense. So in a long roundabout way to answer your question, I would say it's always evolving.
Safid?
Thanks, Matt. How you doing, Josh? I wanted to ask, we talked a lot about the Chiefs and their playmakers and stuff, but I wanted to ask you, what are some things that let you know your defense has a chance, this week against them?
Well, I mean, I think we go into every game, with the idea to win the game. And, and again, that starts with, one, having a good plan, two, the players putting in, a great week of preparation, and, having a great week of practice, executing at a high level, and then going out there Sunday and being able to execute, in pressure situations, and knowing and understanding the situation and being able to execute. So, I mean, I have a lot of confidence in our guys. We're going to play hard and we're going to compete. And the goal, it doesn't matter who you're playing. The goal every week is to win. We know we got a good opponent this week that's very well coached, a very good scheme with a lot of talented players. But like I said, we got a bunch of competitive guys in this building. We're going to work hard, and we're going to prepare, and, we're going to go out there and play on Sunday.
I got time for one more. Joe?
What does Kelsey do best? Travis Kelsey.
Oh, and I would say, much like Tyreek Hill, like these guys are getting better and better, and they were really good players to begin with. Like, I mean, you're talking about elite players to begin with, and they're actually getting better. Travis Kelsey is an outstanding route runner. He's got great hands. He can make tough catches in traffic. He usually comes up with big plays. They move him all around. So obviously he can handle the whole offense. He's just really an outstanding player that it's kind of, mind numbing to think that guys that are playing at that high of level are actually just improving. And he really has had a great season. And like I said, he's a really good route runner. He's got good hands, and he's made a lot of tough catches for him.